entertain a motion to approve the August minutes that are in your packet, board members.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by board member Sharp, seconded by Vice Chair Lamb. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. At this at this time, we're at item number 5 on our agendas, the recognitions portion of our meeting.
We have a lot of recognition. Place is full. Great job. So, the NCPS special recognition for the Reader's Choice, and this is the Rocky Mountain Telegram. We have 2 principals that were nominated, it's called the Choice Best of the Twin Counties Gold. So this says, Reader's Choice 2024 Best of the Twin Counties Gold, Best Principal Hugh Scott. I'm gonna get these 2 together, and we also have the silver is Best Principal Allison Williams. The Reader's Choice Best of Twin Counties Silver Best Teacher, Emily Engelking. Good choice. Now we're going to give our NCPS Hero Awards. First recipient is Mr. Neil Davenport. I'm going to read this. President of Davenport Auto Park, has been a dedicated advocate and committed community partner on the behalf of NCPS for approximately 20 years. Mr. Davenport, who is the owner of Davenport Auto, has given a car for a period of 1 year to the NCPS Teacher of the Year in each of those years as a reward for their being named as District's Teacher of the Year. Even during the years of COVID, he continued to work with the district to ensure that Teacher of the Year would be rewarded with an automobile. Mr. Davenport and the Davenport family are selfless heroes and sheroes and have taken the role of community stewards to heart and have taken the opportunity to acknowledge the worth of NCPS by giving of their resources each year. Thank you, Mr. Davenport. You are a true NCPS hero. Next Hero Award is Miss Barbara Harvey. She's probably in her office. She's administrative assistant. Administrative assistant in student services, has been a dedicated employee for many years. She is one of the few individuals who holds the institutional knowledge as the district has been through several name changes, including Nash County Schools, Nash Rocky Mountain Public Schools, and most recently, Nash County Public Schools. Ms. Harvey has held several positions at school level and district level. She also served as a bus driver, I need to remember that, in her early tenure with the district. I need to pencil that one in. During the 2023-24 school year, Ms. Harvey was inundated with the process and procedures relating to the Edgecombe and Nash demerger. Between the months of May through September 24, Ms. Harvey has managed more than 800 requests for student transfers. She has worked after hours, on weekends, and during holidays, while also maintaining her other duties as an effective and efficient level. Ms. Harvey has not complained or grumbled, and I made sure I stayed away from her office. She remained steadfast in her work and was a key contributor in our successful transition during the demerger. Thank you, Ms. Harvey. You're a true hero. But this time I'm going to recognize probably 4 people, but we wanted to show a video first. Mr. McQueen, you have that. We had a back to school festival probably about a month ago, and I was telling my wife, I said, honey, I probably won't be a whole lot. They show up, it's hot out there, probably don't want to come. Well, when I showed up, we had a petting zoo, we had food, we had everything in the world. We ran out of bingo tickets, we ran out of hot dogs. It was just an excellent event. So I wanted to make sure I recognize, I know 3 or 4 ladies tonight. I wanted to play this video just showing what it looked like. It was the only event you could meet the superintendent, pet a turtle, a kangaroo, and eat a hot dog. But it was awesome. I'm almost thinking there might have been 1,000 people there. It was just unreal. It was unreal. But I wanted to recognize those people, so let me read. So the first hero is Dr. Michelle Royster. She is our NCPS parent coordinator. Special thanks to Dr. Royster for her vision in organizing a spectacular family event for the district. Her innovative idea culminated in the district's back to school fair, which is testament to her dedication and tireless effort. If you didn't attend, you missed the definition of networking with community partners and interacting with staff members. The event was a remarkable success, showcasing not only her commitment to serving our families, but also her deep investment in the well-being of our community. Dr. Royster's leadership and foresight turned a concept into a meaningful experience, making a lasting impact on everyone involved. Join me in recognizing Dr. Michelle Royster on a job well done. Next one will be Ms. Janet Morris, Director of Federal Programs. Ms. Morris is Director of Federal Programs. Ms. Morris has exemplified exceptional leadership and dedication through management of multiple federal grants, including securing a clean audit for the ESSER funding. Her role as a team player and advocate for both students and parents shine through in every project she undertakes. She played a crucial role in the success of the Back to School Fair, contributing significantly by planning, setting up, and working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the vision become a reality. Her unwavering commitment and exemplary leadership continues to inspire and elevate the NCPS community. Thank you, Ms. Morris, for all that you do. Next one is going to be Ms. Liz Jenkins. She is our transition liaison. Next, we're delighted to recognize retiree and part-time Elizabeth Jenkins, family transition liaison. We're truly grateful for her remarkable contributions to our team. Liz's creativity shone brightly in her collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club, where she played a vital role in supporting our McKinney-Vento students. Additionally, Liz's dedication was evident in her support of the Back to School Fair, where she took care of errands, set up the event, and handled the cleanup. If you only knew what that looked like. We appreciate her unwavering commitment to NCPS and her enthusiastic service to our community. Ms. Liz Jenkins, an NCPS hero. Last but not least, tonight we proudly acknowledge Adriana Javier, our Federal Programs Administrative Assistant. For her exceptional support and dedication, Ms. Javier's organizational skills shine as she meticulously processes all paperwork for Title I schools and maintains essential documentation for 5 years. Her ability to manage these responsibilities with a smile and a sense of humor adds a personal touch to her every interaction. Since relocating with her family from the western part of the country 3 years ago, she has seamlessly integrated into our community, becoming a key figure in the Indian Education Grant and a leader in enhancing opportunities and awareness within our district. Her hard work and commitment are deeply appreciated by both the HR and the federal programs team, and we are truly grateful to have such a valued employee in our midst. And she is also an NCPS hero, so thank you.
Thank you, lady. Thank you, thank you.
Our next hero award is Dr. Sylvia Anthony McGahey, Director of Beginning Teachers. This next hero epitomizes the essence of perfection and relationship building. If supports were a middle name, it would be surely Dr. Anthony McGahey. As the district's Director of Beginning Teachers, she leverages her extensive educational experience to meet the evolving needs of new teachers with unparalleled dedication. She provides support to mentors, beginning teachers at all stages, BT1s to BT3s throughout the year. Her commitment to a fostering positive, trusting relationship is evident in the comprehensive assistance she offers, whether it's providing classroom management strategies, helping with lesson plans, or even assisting with personal errands like trips to the DMV or scheduling transportation to and from work. By relying on data to guide program improvements and consistently striving for excellence, she enhances both the new teacher support program and the aspiring leaders program. Her leadership attributed to the Clear States audit, which is additional evidence that her vision of the program is guiding the direction of BT programs statewide. Dr. McGahey's wealth of knowledge and unwavering commitment make her an invaluable asset to our new teachers. Leaders' unwavering commitments makes her an invaluable asset to our new teachers, leaders for the entire district. We're grateful for her remarkable contributions to NCPS schools, and she always provides the superintendent with Tootsie Rolls and Coke Zero. You know I put that one in. Thank you so much. So as many of you know, this has been a very busy summer for Nash County Public Schools for the demerger. Our facilities and operation teams have made history with the many improvements and updates for our school district. And as Shannon Davis would say, let's get to work. And they did. An example of these includes new exterior lights, windows, cameras, fencing, playgrounds, HVAC, paint, new signage, and more. This team has been a key element during the demerger. I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to our maintenance director, Dennis Fields, assistant maintenance director, Jeff Rogers, and the entire maintenance department. We appreciate this team for accomplishing one of the most difficult tasks of the demerger. I would like to ask this department to please come forward and receive a recognition. Dennis and Jeff are going to get one, so would you please come forward? And with that whole team, just come up here for a second. Come on up here. Great job.
Squeeze in, squeeze in.
So, one more. So please also join me in recognizing a special guest from the Shannon Davis family, Ms. Carrie Davis, for her dedication and sacrifices for our department and district. I'm trying to get this one out. As I walked around the schools this whole week, I see Shannon Davis' fingerprint everywhere.
Amen.
Amen.
And, you know, he's gone, but that legacy for Nash County Public Schools is gonna live forever.
That's right.
So, Carrie, to you and your family, thank you
Yes.
for allowing him to be with us for all these years. We're gonna miss him, but there's not a school I can't go into and not see Shannon Davis. So I thank you. We love you, and thank you for all you've done for us.
Amen. Amen.
All right, let's get in and take us a picture. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. We talked about wheels, Ken. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Let's give everyone another hand as they exit. All right, that brings us to item number 6 on our agenda, the public input session of our board meeting. Each month, a part of at least one regularly scheduled board meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. A sign-up sheet will be available in the communications office for any individual or group to indicate their desire to address the board. The deadline is noon the day of the board meeting. Any individual or group can sign up by appearing in person or by calling the superintendent's office. The chairperson will decide the amount of time devoted to public comments, and that time is 3 minutes. The superintendent shall develop additional procedures to ensure that public comment sessions proceed in an efficient and orderly manner. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board except to request clarification of points made. Disruptions by any person or persons of a public meeting will be subject to action in accordance with General Statute 143-318.17. If the board does not hold a regular meeting during a month, the board will not provide a time for public comment at any other meeting held during that month, unless a majority of the board votes to allow public comment at the meeting or unless the purpose of the meeting is a public hearing. We do have several individuals that are signed up to address the board on this evening. Again, you will have 3 minutes. Mr. McQueen will take the time. The first individual that will be coming forward is Sheriff Keith Stone.
Thank you, Board. In light of what's happened with school shootings and the critical incident I think all of you are aware of, I've come to you today with a proposal. 2 of them are, and the first one I'll start with is we need school resource officers in every school, which that's something we're pushing towards. The other one is Edgecombe County Sheriff Clee Atkinson has taken over all of the schools in Edgecombe County. I guess each one of you are aware of that. I feel like that we need to do that here. I know you cannot ask questions, obviously, because of the rules, but I want to come back at the next meeting and engage with you and talk about the reasons for this. One of them, what we're wanting to do is put a captain here at the school for school resource officers. instead of having diversified command, have unified command. That captain is over every Nash County school, and the SROs report to them. And instead of having it diversified where the captain is at the sheriff's office, have it here. Find room here so that we can have interaction between the superintendent and the school, so that when you have questions arise or intelligence that comes up, that communications is there. That's the number one factor that you're going to find out. Technology is not defeating these active shooters. Relationships, law enforcement in these schools, and good communications. Where it is now, you'll have some people to call the sheriff's office, some will call Rocky Mount Police Department, some will call Nashville. It's a Nash County public school, have Nash County Sheriff's Office over these schools so that we have one contact, one person, one vision, and the interaction between the schools and one law enforcement agency. So on your agenda next month, I'll sign up, come in and let you know how this plays out. But if you've got any questions, one of the things is, well, how are you going to fill yourself up? We've got 3 openings right now. We're filling them up. Thanks to Chairman Davis and the board and our county manager. Our pay is going up where we're getting a lot of applicants. My vision is by next year to have the positions filled, and hopefully we can have that and have an SRO in each school, and then have the unified command with a unit commander here interacting with the school board and with the school, so when a teacher has something going on, that they can run it through the chain of command and it's handled, because we'll find out in a disaster or in a crisis, we don't have time to figure out who and where we're going to call. We found this out with the catastrophic events from the 1990s. Fire and rescues got it with NIMS. Unit commanders, one person, one command, and then you can move to communications, and the leadership is sole first. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right, the next individual that has signed up is Miss Sheila Moody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to first thank you for this opportunity to come before you to speak on something so near and dear to me, the Swift Creek School property. I stated that Swift Creek is near me because I live less than a half a mile from the property. I've always lived in this community. I attended school there, as most of my family did as well. My aunt graduated class of 1950. My siblings also graduated from there. Also, one of my brothers, along with some members here tonight, was first involved in the integration from Swift Creek High to Northern Nash High. My children attended there. My grandchildren attended there too. One of my grandchildren was the last graduating class of 2023, where they bid farewell to Swift Creek School. I never said farewell. I said, I'll see you later. This is true for not only me, but many others that are here tonight. So as you can see, that property means a lot to the community and surrounding areas. It's a long-standing symbol of connectiveness, bonding many generations together. We, those that are here and those of the community, would hate to see anything but Swift Creek there. I do realize as a board, you have a big decision to make. I ask that the decision not be made about money only. Please consider the history of the property, the individuals. Please consider the history of the property, the individuals that bonded together and purchased land, built a school, all so that their children could get a great education. Unfortunately, we must remember a time when our children did not have any schools. Swift Creek symbolizes nowhere to somewhere, no place to someplace. In my closing, there is unity in Swift Creek and surrounding areas of our community. And where there's unity, there is strength. Thank you.
Chris Hilliard.
Good evening.
Evening.
I see Swift Creek School as a transition center, assisting those who deserve a second chance and an opportunity to transition back into society. These people have served their time and paid their debts to society and need help. Swift Creek School has a lot of what is needed to house, train people to be productive in the world. Companies can conduct job fairs there. This transition center could also partner with Nash Community College, corporations, and local churches. I see Nash County Public School System partnering by turning this property over for $2 because you are equipping people to be productive citizens and giving Swift Creek the opportunity to change lives, to give a second chance to make productive citizens out of transition adults, keeping Swift Creek's legacy alive. There are resources out there to renovate, but not to purchase. With Nash County's approval of our plan, we can move forward in this mission. What I'm saying is the higher you raise the price, the more this board is saying no to Swift Creek community and helping others be productive citizens. This is not a hard process. It's allowing God to work in your heart. Thank you.
Linwood Ross.
Good afternoon. This is my vision for Swift Creek School. First of all, there's a theory called the base economic theory. The base economic theory is if you put a building or a business in one spot, you will draw other business to that location. So my idea is that you keep the school and create an industrial park. And in that industrial park, you'd have a company that does STEM, you'll have a company that does AI, and you'll have a company that does drone technology. In addition to that, if we were to do that, the salaries in North Carolina for a high-tech job is $105,000 a year. In Whitaker's, the salary is $31,500 average. So by bringing in these high-tech businesses and training people, they can aspire for these jobs. The other part of that is that it should be a community center, because if you're going to have a park, you need to have money as income coming to support the park. So the other idea was to have a library with technical information, a technical library, a vocation center, a senior center, and a training center, and also a lab for gifted children. The population currently is 27% seniors, and of those 27% seniors, 73% of the people under 65 are available for additional training and education. Therefore, there's a unique market there, because that means that you can set up training and vocation programs for the other 25% of the people. Education-wise, the current education in Swift Creek is 75% of the people have a high school education, 67% have college education, and 4% have graduate degrees or professional degrees. So the vision of Swift Creek is to create an industrial park, put in high-tech jobs, take the people in the community, employ them, and build and bring in other people from the outside that would enhance the community itself.
Gerard Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I'd like to give glory to Jesus Christ.
Just hand it.
What I see for the future of Swift Creek is a Boys and Girls Club, youth, Rex and Park for the youth. Our youth is lost right now, and they need guidance and direction. I feel like that building would be a good place to help the youth, not only just sports, but with schoolwork and education as well. Swift Creek, I've been there. I've lived there my whole life. It's a part of our history. I'm here on behalf of Swift Creek. You have to be from Swift Creek to know about it. We love it. And we don't want Swift Creek, we need Swift Creek. That's all I got to say.
Eula Turner.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. It's a lot to follow what just went before me. Our vision is to ensure that Swift Creek, the former Swift Creek High Elementary School property, is available for individual and community use. We want the residents of that community to be exposed to current and emerging technologies, as well as cutting-edge programs and services to allow them to compete and thrive. Unfortunately, too many people are surviving. That's not a good place to be. We feel the main building has historical significance and might be eligible for the National Register of Historic Sites. It was the first high school for Black students in Nash County. It was and has been for a long time a hub for the community, even before that building was built in 1949. The Nash County Sunday School Convention's elementary school was on that property. Our group, Promoting Human Development, CDC, plans to provide the rural area with educational support, recreational activities for children and youth, additional support for vulnerable individuals, job creation, health information and services, and other opportunities for young adults and the elderly in the community. I'm sure, as you well know, not only our community, our county is not necessarily growing. People leave where there are no opportunities. We would like to use this facility to provide opportunities for the people in that community. And when I say in that community, I'm not just talking about a radius around the school itself, because we know people went to that school from many different places in the county, because at one time it was the only high school in the county. So we would like to have that property for our community. We have been working to secure the monies to purchase it. We're not there yet, but we're continuing to work. Our commitment is to have that property for the community, and we would like whatever assistance you can provide. Thank you.
Okay, and our final speaker for public input is Chief Robert Hassel.
Good evening, School Board Chair Dr. Washington, other members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Ellis, and others present. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I am here to reaffirm our commitment the Rocky Mount Police Department's commitment to the Nash County school system and the students and staff of each of the schools within the city of Rocky Mount. Our dedicated school resource officers are assigned to the specific schools they are assigned in the city, not only to familiarize themselves with the layout of the school, but to continuously build a strong relationship with the students and the administrators of each of those schools they occupy. These relationships are crucial in creating a safe and supportive school environment where officers are trusted allies rather than seen as just enforcers. Over the years, I believe our partnership with the Nash County school system has been instrumental in maintaining a safe learning environment. Our officers are more than just that security presence. They are mentors, they're educators, they're role models for our students. The consistent presence of the Rocky Mount Police School Resource Officer in our schools have helped prevent incidents before they escalate and ensured our students feel safe and supported. Some points I wanted to highlight that the Rocky Mount Police Department has brought with our School Resource Officer Safe Schools Unit is our officers has a combined average experience of 13 years, with the least having 2 and the most experienced resource officer having 24 years of dedicated service in our schools. We have a dedicated supervisor who all his responsibility is to our schools, and he is housed in one of the schools within the city of Rocky Mount. During major events, which is time is crucial in major events, our resource officers provide a faster response to those incidents because they have direct contact to officers who occupy the city of Rocky Mount. On any given day, we have between 50 to over 75 officers working during any school day. We can have a contingent of officers there within minutes of any school incident, in addition to the resource officer already there. Our resource officers are certified by the state of North Carolina in many areas from crisis intervention, solo active shooter events, mental health, and a lot more. And we provide a lot of educational programs and opportunities for students to learn in all of our schools. We deeply value this partnership. We look forward to many, many more years of partnering with the Nash County school system. And by the way, we have over 3 decades almost. Since 1995, we have been your partner, and we hope to continue that partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 7, our business items. Dr. Ellis, donations.
Dear board members, please accept this request for the following donations. Red Oak Elementary received a donation for $3,000 from Leanne Broyhill T for the teachers to use on classroom supplies. Southern Nash High received a donation from Mr. Todd Davis, who resides in Farmville, North Carolina. He is donating a commercial greenhouse to the Southern Nash High School Agricultural Department for continuing education and exploration in the world of horticulture and sustainable agriculture. This donation would be a great benefit for present and future students and staff. Our staff is well equipped to assemble this commercial greenhouse valued at $18,000.
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we accept these donations with great appreciation. Second.
Right, motion made by Dr. Chavis, seconded by Board Member Sharp. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you so much. Next item is the personnel recommendations. Mrs. Wallace.
Good evening, Chair Dr. Washington, Vice Chair Mr. Lamb, in-person and virtual board members. The personnel report has been shared and reviewed. On behalf of Superintendent Ellis, your approval is requested at this time.
Is there a motion to approve the personnel recommendations as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Board Member Lamb, seconded by Board Member Sharp for the record. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Mrs. Wallace. That brings us to agenda item number 8, the policy committee. Ms. Bullock.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 11 policies to present to the board for a final read. They are as following. Policy 1300, governing principal parental involvement. Policy 1500, governing principal safe, orderly, and inviting environment. Policy 1600, governing principal professional development. Policy 1700, governing principal removal of barriers. Policy 1742/5060, responding to complaints. Policy 1760/7280, probation against retaliation. Policy 2500, option B, hearings before the board. Policy 4040/7310, staff-student relations. Policy 4329/7311, bullying and harassing behavior prohibited. Policy 7335, employee use of social media. And policy 7820, personnel files. Madam Chair, I move that we approve these policies for final read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Board Member E. Bullock for the record, seconded by Board Member Edwards. Is there any discussion on those policies? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you so much. That brings us to agenda item number 9, the Administrative Services and Operations Committee. Mr. Dunton.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Washington. The Administrative Services and Operations Committee met on August 29th. We had 4 agenda items, 2 of which were presented for information purposes only, and 2 of which were action items. I'll move to the action items with recommendations from the committee. If Mrs. Wallace would join us, we were going to take a look at the renewal of the Kelly Services contract. While she steps forward, there were no major changes to this annual renewal of the contract. There was one piece of information I was going to ask you to just share again regarding the ESSER funds and possible funding of these positions in this coming school year.
Sorry, I popped candy in my mouth. What I shared previously at the committee meeting, the Kelly Services for the past 3 years has been paid for with the ESSER funding. We cannot afford to exceed the amount of this contract because we no longer have that cushion of Kelly Services. So we're doing everything in our power to make sure that we're monitoring the funding that we're using or contributing towards that grant, that contract each month. And we're also making sure that we're doing everything in our power to fill our vacancies so that we don't have the over expenses of long-term vacancy positions that has encumbered a lot of our funding in the past.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Any more questions for Ms. Wallace while we have her, or for Dr. Ellis around the renewal of this contract? Hearing none, the committee recommends approval of the renewal for the Kelly Services contract.
Second.
All right, motion made by Board Member Duncan, seconded by Dr. Chavis. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. Next, I'll ask Ms. Saunders if she would step forward. We have just a few budget amendments Nothing major, I don't think, as we start the school year, other than we did have an update. There was an item we weren't exactly sure the nature of, but I think have received some additional information that you might share with us.
I would love to share. Good evening, board members. So I am happy to say that Edgecombe County did provide us with some clarification on the $550,000 appropriation. I'm going to read what they sent, just so it'll be verbatim from them, okay? Based on the funding calculation provided by Nash County for fiscal year 23-24, their per pupil allocation for Nash County was $1689.47. According to the transition plan submitted by Nash County Schools, there are 422 Edgecombe residents in Nash County high schools. The estimate we are given for the number of rising ninth graders who would transition to Edgecombe County this year was 120, leaving the anticipated 302 in Nash, which for them equated to 510,000, and I guess they left a cushion for any others that intend on staying, and that is how they arrived at the 550,000.
Thank you, Ms. Saunders, for clarification on that one item. Any other questions, Dr. Ellis or Mrs. Saunders? Well,
I think we were waiting for that answer. We received
We
it at 2 o'clock, so I wanted to make sure she presented it so we could clarify that.
thank you for doing that. Hearing that, the committee recommends approval for the budget amendments as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Board Member Dunton, seconded by Board Member Sharp. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
That's everything for administrative services and operations.
Thank you, Mr. Dunton. Is Mrs. Thomas Bullock on? Student Support Services and Operations Committee.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. So the Student Support Services and Operations Committee met, and we only had 3 action items. So, I'm sorry, 3 information items. So we don't have any action items at this time, so I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Washington.
All right. And those information items are listed there. All right, agenda item number 11, Academic Services and Accountability Committee, Vice Chair Lamb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This time I'd like to ask Timothy Miller to step up. 2023-2024 testing updates, which are now legal.
They are, yes. Good evening, Dr. Washington,
Good evening.
Vice Chair Lamb, and the board. I'm back before you today, as Lamb said, to present some more information on the official school performance grades. They were released yesterday around 10:30, 11, so about 24 hours to dig through the data a little bit, and I'm here to provide you with some highlights of some of the really amazing things that some of our schools, teachers, and students were able to accomplish last year. So this works. Maybe it was dropped too many times. It hits and lights up, but it doesn't change anything. Oh, there it goes. It goes just too far away. So a reminder, the formula for school performance grades is 80% off performance. That comes mainly from EOG test scores and EOG test scores. 20% then comes from student growth, which is calculated from a various formulas that no one knows other than EVOS and DPI. So that's where 20% comes from. I get a little closer. This was shared with you guys privately last week, but now publicly available. This is kind of a trend over the last 3 years of the school performance grades within all of our schools in Nash County. So on the far left-hand side, you have 23, 24, and then it goes back to the last 3 years. You can see in the far right-hand column the number of schools that are identified as low performing, highlighted in red or with a yes. That is a school that is a D or an F school and does not exceed growth. And you can see over the past 3 years how the number of schools designated as low performing has been greatly reduced to only 4 schools this past school year. You can also see the column with the colors represents school growth calculations of not met, or exceeded growth. The blue being exceeded growth, which is the ultimate goal, meaning students are making estimated at more than a year's worth of progress, but really closing gaps if you're exceeding growth. And this year, we had 12 schools that exceeded growth, which is the most that the county has had since school performance grades. Growth was started in 2015. You can also see the letter grades there. That's an A through F grading scale. This year, we had 17 schools that received a C or higher, which is the most schools at C or higher that we've had in the district since school performance grades started in 2015 as well. You can also see if you compare 2022-23 to 2023-24, 19 of our schools increased their school performance grade by at least 1 point over the previous year. So a lot of things to be happy about and to celebrate at literally all of our schools across the county. A little closer. So I know Dr. Ellis, since he's been here, one of his primary goals is to make sure that, as is the board, is to make sure that we're no longer on the low performing list, which the state sends out every year as a district who has more than 50% of the schools identified as low performing. So if you remember, last year was the first year in a number of years that we were no longer identified as low performing, and we have again increased the number of high performing schools to continue to maintain that status. And I believe prior to me joining this position, there were some numbers shared in terms of like a ranking, and I believe I've seen it, Dr. Ellis kind of mentioned. And so that's what this district or this chart represents. So there are 115 school districts in North Carolina. The low-performing school list actually includes every district in the state, to be honest, and then they just highlight the ones that are identified as low-performing. That's available on DPI's website. I don't necessarily think it's meant to be used as a ranking, but if you list all the schools and you put them in order, someone's going to rank them, and so we just went ahead with it. And so you can see in 2018-19, that was the year prior to the COVID shutdown that everyone is trying to get back to in terms of performance. If you ranked all of the districts, we were 108th out of 115, meaning our percentage of low-performing schools, we had nearly one of the highest percentages in the state. And you can see each year since 2018-19, our percentage of low-performing schools has decreased. To this year, we would be ranked 33rd in terms of having fewer lower-performing schools than other districts. Only 6 districts in the state, they're all listed here, have done the same thing that we have done, which is decrease the number of low-performing schools every year since 2018-19. Out of 115 districts, only 6 of us have been able to do that consistently every year to make progress. And as you can see, we've obviously moved up 75 spots from 108th to 33rd, which is one of the largest improvements, second largest improvement in the state behind what Bertie County has also done. So significant improvement across the board in terms of reducing low-performing schools in the district. And
Can you go back to that for just a second?
Yeah, let's soak it up a little more.
Let's soak this thing up for just a minute. I know this is a little out of the ordinary, and I apologize.
No.
But Dr. Ellis, you may have said this in a little bit of a private meeting, I can't remember, but you said last year at this time, give me a minute, and we'll get up to at least number 51. Well, you well exceeded that, sir. Thank you.
And I'm sure everyone's always interested in comparisons. That is, we are higher than or have less low-performing schools, however you want to say it, than all of our surrounding counties. I guess technically we border Wake County. They are 1 spot ahead of us in terms of low-performing schools. They're 32nd. If you rank the list, we're 33rd, but all of our other neighboring counties are much further behind us than that. So we are making significant gains in terms of where we are in our surrounding counties as well. A little closer, there we go. So in school performance grades highlights, so there are 2,616 schools in the state of North Carolina that received a school performance score. So you get a letter grade, but then there's also a numerical grade that's called the school performance score. And each year or every year this number holds true, only about 25% of the schools in the state year over year show an increase 2 years in a row. So that would be like they increase their school performance grade from 21-22 to 22-23. And then they increase their score again, 22-23 to 23-24. So consistent progress is actually really hard in terms of the way the formula is set up. As you can see, only 25% of the schools in the state are able to do that year over year. 48% of our schools in Nash County have increased their school performance score over the past 2 years. You can see those listed there: Bailey, Baskerville, City High, Edwards, Parker, Hubbard, Nash Central High, Nashville, Northern Nash High, Southern Nash Middle, Spring Hope, and Tar River Academy all have 2 consecutive years, at least 2 consecutive years of growth on their school performance score. In addition, in terms of growth status, there are 2,558 schools across the state that receive a growth status. That's the exceed, meets, or does not meet. And less than 25% of those schools are able to achieve a rating of exceeded growth 2 years in a row or more. So again, it seems like it may be something that happens more frequently than it does, but based on the formula, only 25% of schools are able to exceed growth 2 years in a row. A third of Nash County Public Schools have been able to exceed growth at least 2 years in a row, including City High, Edwards, Parker, Northern Nash High, Early College High School, Red Oak Elementary, Red Oak Middle, and Southern Nash Middle School have been able to do that. And we've had 3 schools that have actually exceeded growth 3 years in a row, which less than 10% of the schools in the state are able to do, and that's City High, Edwards, and Early College High School. So great job in terms of exceeding growth, growing kids more than a year's worth of progress every year, and doing it multiple years in a row. Want it a little higher, there we go. So some specifics in terms of rankings of where individual schools ranked. And so in terms of overall school growth, so this is all subjects, all students, math, so that would be math and reading, and then all students. There were 2,593 schools that received a growth index score. Nash County Public Schools has 12 schools that are in the top 25% in the state in terms of most growth. So absolute growth if you rank them from most to least. And you can see we have 4 schools that are in the top 6%. Southern Nash Middle School is 26th in the state. Early College was 67th, Parker Middle 80th, and Inglewood Elementary 145th, all top 6% in the state in terms of growth. So 2,593 schools in those schools really standing out. But then again, half of our schools, 12 schools in the top 25% in growth. So just a great job across the board from north to south, east to west, elementary, middle, and high, a lot of good progress. In terms of math-specific growth, again, a number of schools with significant growth. Was at 5 schools in the top 10% again in terms of math-specific growth. Hubbard, Inglewood, Benvenue, Southern Nash Middle, and Parker. And then again, 7 of our schools in the top 20% in the state. Reading growth, again, 8 schools in the top 25% of the state, with 4 schools again being in the top 5%. Southern Nash Middle School was 5th in the state for reading growth, so only 4 schools in the state, their students showed more growth than the students at Southern Nash Middle in reading, which is 2,500 plus schools in the state, and they're 4th. That's fantastic. Along with Parker, Nash Central Middle, and Edwards also in the top 60 there. So just a tremendous job by those schools, students, and teachers, and administrators. So next we have some subgroup data. So one thing important to remember about the subgroup data, not every school is going to have a subgroup in every subgroup, right? Because you have to have enough students. And so these numbers, you might not see some of the schools, and that maybe doesn't mean that they didn't necessarily do well. It could just mean that there's not that subgroup at that school. But starting with our AIG subgroup, we had 4 schools in the top 10% for growth with our AIG students: Early College, Inglewood, Red Oak Middle, and Southern Nash Middle. In terms of our Black student subgroup, we had a number of schools in the top 25% for making growth with our Black students, led by Parker at 6th in the state, and then a number of other schools in the top 10%, Southern Nash Middle, Early College, Inglewood, Benvenue, Hubbard, and Northern Nash High School, exceeding growth with those students. With our EDS, that's economically disadvantaged, so the students qualify for free and reduced lunch. That subgroup, we had half of our schools were in the top 25% in the state and making gains with those students. Again, a lot of the same names. Obviously, if you're exceeding growth, it's going to be in a lot of different subgroups, but Southern Nash Middle, Parker, Early College, Inglewood, Nash Central Middle, Benvenue, and Hubbard in the top 10%, along with others in the top 25% across the board. We also have our EL, so this is English language learners, students who English is not their first language. Southern Nash Middle School in the top 1%, 9th in the state in terms of growth with those students who English isn't their first language. And this is particularly as a subgroup that we don't have a lot of schools that have a subgroup of. And so to have 4 in the top 25% in the state, that's literally almost all the schools that have a subgroup for that category. With our Hispanic students, so different from the EL, these are just students who are Hispanic, but English could still be their first language. It also could be students who English isn't their first language, so it's a larger subgroup than the EL group. Southern Nash Middle and the Early College in the top 6% of the state. And then getting towards the end, our white subgroup of students, 8 schools in the top 25%, led by Inglewood, Southern Nash Middle, Red Oak Elementary, and Early College in the top 10% of the state with that subgroup. And then finally, our Title I subgroup, or just a Title I schools. So every school that receives Title I funding, there are 1,649 of those schools across the state that identified as Title I. And these are how a lot of the designations, like you get the CSI and the TSI, and so a lot of those designations are from Title I schools. And so to exit that, it's important that those schools do well. We had 5 of our Title I schools ranked in the top 15% of the state of Title I schools for growth, led by Parker, Inglewood, Hubbard, and Benvenue, exceeding growth in as identified as Title I schools. And so that's just an overview of a lot of the information broken down by subgroup, and to highlight the exceptional work done at all of our schools, really, but really to highlight those schools and those teachers that I know worked tirelessly to achieve tremendous success for their students last year. So at this time, if you have any questions about the information, I'd be happy to answer.
Dr. Ellis, I'd like to know when the next convocation is gonna be, so I can really celebrate, and the central office celebrate, because we sit here so many years. We need to learn how to celebrate
Oh, yes.
our teachers' success. Thank you for what you do.
I want to piggyback on what Dean said and what Franklin said, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Dr. Ellis is only as good as this lady sitting in the chair. Miss Nancy Smith, and she's only as good as the people that work with her. But you took a chance and you put her in that seat. And I can say, from what I know, it's because of that leadership that we're doing what we're doing. I'm gonna bring something else on the table. One of the schools that stood out, if you recognize a really low performing school for the last 3-4 years, was Parker. Parker jumped up, and the reason Parker jumped up because that man standing right there. He is the real deal. And I've heard a lot of flack about him and what's going on with that. We need to realize if we sit back and let that man do his job and we do our job, we'll see what this district can do. If we let Dr. Ellis do his job, lead this direction, and not us trying to tell him how to do it. So Dr. Ellis, team, great job. I really appreciate it. Your staff is awesome.
Thank you.
And I just want to add my 2 cents before we go.
Go ahead.
So, because academics, of course, is close to my heart, but I just wanted to say that I can say as an educator how important it is to receive this data, like how Dr. Mudd has really broken this down, and all the hard work and intentionality, like I said before, but to be able to take such like colossal information, colossal data, and break it down into a way that we can really chew on it and learn from it, because now we can see, okay, what are they doing at Hubbard? What are they doing at Southern Nash Middle? What are they doing at Parker and all of these places? So it's so important. So I'm just thankful for Dr. Mudd and Miss Nancy Smith and Miss Hargrove Jones and all of the people on their team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas Bullock.
The next item is North Carolina Migrant Education Program Statement of Assurance. Chairman Donovan, he brought that to the committee voted to bring it to the full board. I entertain a motion to approve North Carolina Migrant Education Program.
Second.
All right, motion made by Vice Chair Lamb, seconded by Board Sharp. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 12 on the agenda, the superintendent's report. Dr. Ellis.
So, Mr. Lamb's taking away some of my thunder. I was gonna show a video we showed during the convocation, then I'll make some remarks. So, Lane, can you hit it? So I appreciate you showing that video. And I'm showing it because when we started discussing about this convocation, you know, we talked about speakers and everything else. And I think we all came together when we saw some of this testing data and realized we don't want anybody speaking. We wanted board members, and I appreciate you all coming who did come, and just thank teachers, staff, facilities, everybody is involved in this. And I go back to just thanking them because demerger, COVID, online learning, all the other stuff with low performance. And I'll never forget my first principal meeting here, and I told the principals, there is no way this is a low performing district. Because first, I'm not going to work in a low performing district. Because I never have, never will. And I know how I am, and Hugh Scott's back there, I know he remembers. And all we did was start creating a vision for this district. And they took it and ran, and I know I'm aggravating, and I'll apologize now. But when you see these scores, you see teachers, you're seeing principals, custodians, bus drivers, you're seeing everything that Nash County has to offer. And the most important thing to me is when every meeting we go into, it has nothing to do, excuse me, about adults, adult problems, anything. It's about kids.
Amen.
And I'm gonna ask this board to do one thing. Don't ever forget, it's
That's
about
right.
kids in these seats.
That's right.
And when you see numbers of the subgroups, it's about all kids. And I'm so glad that all the Edgecombe schools are still in there because you daggone right, Tim Mudd, that's a heck of a job.
Yes, it
It
is.
is.
And I don't want anyone to forget why we're in these roles.
That's right.
And I have a team that works with me every day. And I'll go back to this. I know I'm aggravating because they know every day what I expect. And I know that when these kids graduate across these stages, that diploma means something. And if you can't see this data, there's nothing else better than looking at this right here.
That's right.
I can't do a whole lot of cartwheels, jumping and skipping behind this chair.
I can't.
But I will say, as the leader of the district, I just appreciate all the hard work, everybody that works in this district every day and puts kids first.
That's right.
And like I said, my team, you know how I feel about you. I tell you every day. I've got the best team of senior staff, of principals, of teachers that I've ever worked with. And that's why we're not a low performing district.
Amen.
Because we share the same vision every day. And the question is always, so what about the kids?
That's right.
And that's how we did all this. And it's not about one kid, it's about all the kids in this county.
That's right.
So I want to thank my group, teachers, staff, parents, for believing that we could do this. And I knew it all the time, walking in these schools, that this is not a low performing district. And you know what? For 2 years road, we're not. So I don't want to get used to the 33 because right now we really only have 2. So we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep pushing because this is success right here. So thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you've done. And I might do a cartwheel later, but just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. That brings us to item number 13, the chair's report. As we reflect on the progress and achievements in Nash County Public Schools, I am filled with pride and enthusiasm. Our schools are thriving thanks to the collective efforts of our incredible stakeholders, including our parents, teachers, bus drivers, administrators, and all support staff. Your dedication ensures our students receive the best education possible. We are witnessing remarkable growth in academic performance, innovative programs, and a strong commitment to student well-being. Together, we are shaping a brighter future for every child in our district. Thank you for your unwavering support and commitment to excellence. There are several scheduled upcoming meetings for next month. Item number 14 on our agenda. And there are committee meetings on Monday, September 30th, our board meeting and work session on Monday, October 7th. And if there is no further business to come before this board on this evening, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion made by Board Member Sharp, seconded by Dr. Chavis. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Have a great evening.
I was just gonna tell him when I was like,